Good afternoon. This is Rennie Cook with the John Maxwell team and the owner and president of the Triumph team. Today I want to talk to you a little bit about leadership, and I want us to look at it through the paradigm of the old westerns and the old war movies. I'm still a fan of both. I got to be honest with you, but I grew up watching westerns and war movies, and I still enjoy them today. And one of the things that, as I've thought about westerns and war movies, is the difference between the leadership styles of the cowboy and the difference between the leadership style of the colonel. John Wayne, when I was growing up, they're still some of the greatest westerns, and he's on the cattle trail, and they're leading their cattle back to the ranch, and they're getting them to their destination as a group. But the interesting thing about a cowboy is the cowboy is leading from behind the cattle. Well, he's not in front necessarily. He spends a lot of time behind and making sure they're all getting to where they need to go and that no cattle's left behind and they all get to the ranch. Very effective leadership. He's leading from behind the cattle. Now, if you look at the old war movies and you look at the people in the war movies, they led differently, and they still lead differently today. The colonel says, "We're going to take this hill." And the doors open to the boat, or they land and get off the helicopter, or they're ready to charge from the front lines. The colonel is the one that goes first, and the colonel is leading from the front. And they take the hill, and they accomplish their mission. But in this situation, the colonel and the leader were in front of the team. You see, we can learn a lot from these comparisons. Number one is that you don't always have to be in front to lead. You can be in the back to lead. And we can also make some judgments on the criticisms that people make on these kind of leaders. We say that the person that's leading from the back is sometimes, they're too passive. Well, maybe they need to be in the back in this situation. Or we look at the colonel and say, they're too aggressive. Well, maybe in this situation they need to lead by example and make sure that people see them. But the final thing that we really learn from comparing these two is that leadership is very situational. You need to have the traits and the abilities to lead like the cowboy, and you need to have the traits and the abilities to lead like the colonel. But what's most important is you need to have the discernment to understand, based on the situation in which you're leading, of whether you need to be a cowboy or whether you need to be a colonel.